Hello. As always, my name is Cold Workits, and I am bringing you more CPL. Every time I find something I screwed up in the overlay, it's actually week 7. How do I not... I'm staring at this screen for like 10 minutes, and I don't notice. Anyway, I'm bringing you games from week 7, Tier 1, Team GOSU against the Korean Mechanics. And I mentioned this in the announcement, but this is a really long set of games. I'm going to split it into 2 days, so today and Thursday. We're going to do these first 3 series today and the last 2 on Thursday. Can't think of anything else to say, so let's just get into the first series. It's going to be Too Sexy For You against McSmush. It's going to be a PBT here. Alright, in the bottom right, in the, I forget what this is actually supposed to be called, but in the kind of drab green, it's McSmush in the Terran. And in the bottom left, in the magenta Protoss, it's Too Sexy For You. Now, look, okay, can I just say, Series 01, oh my god. Thank you, Superman. Yeah, we're just starting the Korean Mechanics with the handicap score here. Alright. Okay. Okay. Now, hopefully we're good to go now. Now, back to my rank. Can I point out that, see, one of these players has their clan on the outside and then their name in the square brackets, and the other one has their name outside and their clan in the square brackets. Now, if you were just completely unfamiliar with these clans, you would have no way of figuring this out, right? Especially if the players' names were shorter, it would be much more possible for, something other than McSmush to be a clan tag. But anyway, in this game, everything looks very standard so far. Now, something about McSmush that I appreciate is that they are a Terran player who race picks Protoss against Terran. And in those games that I've seen of McSmush, they've absolutely, exploited every broken thing about Protoss. All of the things that have traumatized McSmush in TVP, they hold on to that energy and they release it against their Terran brethren. So I'm curious to see how they play the Terran side of this. Are they going to play completely standard? Are they going to be exploitative in the other direction? Who knows? So we're gonna find out today. I know I've seen Too Sexy For You play before. Don't remember too much about their style in this matchup. We did see Too Sexy For You scout the middle here. BBS is pretty unlikely in general. It's pretty bad. I feel like if you're going for this normal build, you almost want them to go BBS because it's so bad. But I don't know, maybe Too Sexy For You knows something about McSmush that I don't. It looks very standard. No, wait, hold on. Did McSmush miss? No, McSmush got in there and is now going to the top left. Not sure. I wonder if this is to proxy something. This was the scout was just shift queued. McSmush didn't notice that it made it to the Protoss base. Kind of interesting. Probe is going to find this ramp with the Marines on it. The Goon is headed over, but won't find too much opportunity to put pressure on. Might be able to put some damage on the Vulture. I mean, Probe tries to hide behind the minerals, but McSmush catches it. The SCV is going to head back, so I'm really not 100%. That must have just been a mistake. Like it was shift queued and McSmush was just distracted. Vulture does sneak past that goon, but there is one more in the main here. The scouting SB does distract this goon, so the Vulture is going to get at least one probe kill there. Might be able to get in the main and cause some more havoc. Super annoying. No mines yet. No speed. Oh my, is it still going to get... Are you serious? It still just gets another probe. A nice value there on that first Vulture. Now, Terran does want it to stay alive long enough to put down some mines. So it's not all good, but overall, I think Terran's probably happy with that. Both players just continue to play super standard here. No shenanigans, no proxies, no invisible men. Down here, yeah, you get the Academy and the Armory slammed in here by McSmush. Mines are out. Scoon out front. Still gonna keep an eye on any Vultures that sneak out. No tank yet. You finally have one tank started for McSmush to actually threaten that goon. But meanwhile, 263 is going up to 3 gateways. Has that robo. Even has like 2 goons in the main still, maybe to look for drops. You know, just in case something tries to sneak in there. All right, let me try to think about the spawn positions on this map. I think both players are gonna be like okay with this. Like Terran is gonna take this base, and like they would rather have a gas base than a mineral only. But even if Protoss wasn't right here, it feels pretty rough for Terran to take these gas thirds quickly, right? Like this is a lot of ground for Terran to cover. They have to spread their tanks pretty thin to do that. Whereas like when they're taking this base, they defend this area and put some tanks here, and they've locked down like this whole area, right? So it's much easier to take this base anyway. And Protoss, on the other hand, they can get this base up pretty easily. We have an observer here flying into Terran base. There's no eBay, there's no turrets. So McSmush feeling pretty safe. Okay, there is an eBay now. Second gas coming up. No tech to make use of it just yet. We're also not seeing a third quite yet here. It seems like this probe might be moving out to do that. Well, Terran is getting this starport, I assume, for the science facility to start +2 attack. We could be seeing like a 2-base +2 timing. Unless with the third command center I totally forgot about, which I haven't quite seen yet. Ooh, we're getting a control tower for a science facility here. Is it going to be a drop, or is it just building buildings in a certain order? Meanwhile, that third base has been started by the Protoss. We heard some scans. I'm not sure what they saw. There's not a whole lot of tech going on here. We do have the Citadel started. Go ahead into those Arbiters. You know what? A little weird here. It seems like McSmush's build kind of stopped. Like, we got the starport, but nothing out of it. We're stuck at 3 factories. Like, The worker counts are pretty low for both players, actually, for this period of the game. Could be something that's slowing down their builds here. Another observer out here. This is something that I like to do. Like, I feel like I should probably be able to get this information with one observer, but you know, you have one in the main to check the factory count and one out front to see when Terran decides to move out. Now it is going to be a drop. I thought we were getting a science facility for upgrades, but no, we're getting a drop ship. Now the observer did see that, but was too sexy for you paying attention to that observer when the dropship spawned. Those goons that were in the main of Protoss earlier were moved out. But if you look, this SimCity is going to be decent against drops. Like, I'm not sure if vultures can get through here. But this is a decent block. Like, we could have like some buildings here. Maybe like, I'm not sure if they can run down here, so maybe like one pylon. But okay, I think... okay, I'm still not sure if these observers have seen it. Now we have 4 vultures in this drop. You can always kill probes very quickly. Oh, I think this wall, though, is complete at the last minute. These vultures are not going to have an easy way in here. They maybe go all the way around, but Terran might not even see that. Oh, you do want to block the path behind your minerals, so you don't want vultures to run all the way back there. You have some goons being sent back down. And this, the vultures, that they know where the weakness is, but the probes are being pulled. They're fighting. Oh my god, look, I told you. Oh no. God, this is so annoying. The goons are gonna have a hard time getting back here. The vultures are being super annoying, but I don't know if it's the kind of damage that McSmush was hoping for, right? Like, Protoss is still head on workers. Protoss is still getting their checkup. Protoss still has these 3 bases, and Terran, like, it feels like Terran set themselves back a lot to get that drop, right? Like, we're just now getting the 4th factory. The 3rd command center is almost done. The science facility is done. The upgrades aren't taking advantage of it. There we go. +2 and +3 attack are so huge for Terran in this matchup. You really want to get those as fast as possible, I think. Oh, we got a raid from Aggie. Super hype, especially because we're going to cast Aggie's games later today. So that's going to be fun, because I know you all want to see some proxy hatcheries. But thanks for tuning in, Aggie and friends. We're still in our first game of the night here. We got McSmush against Too Sexy For You, Macker game here on Good Night. Protoss is working on those arbiters. The 4th nexus up here in the top left, ready to start that gateway explosion. Alright, Aggie. Have a good night. I'm sure your games are going to be super entertaining later. Terran does have their 3rd base up. Pretty well saturated. There we go. We're starting to see the factory count grow larger and larger here. And this is quite a few tanks. Like, the overall factory count has been kind of low all game, but we had 2 factories with machine shops just cranking out siege tanks here. As always, that's the really scary part of the Terran army, right? Like, vultures are definitely important. You don't want to throw away too many of them. But tanks are what really deals the damage here. One vulture does manage to make it up, but there's only 1 probe here. Base isn't even done yet, so these goons are going to clean this up. We also have a probe here in the top right. I don't know if this is a base that Protoss wants. Like, it's going to be very hard to defend. Like, this base is closer to Terran than it is to Protoss, right? So that seems pretty hard to defend. But I don't know why else you would put a pylon there. Now, 260 for you is getting close to being maxed out here. And I'm kind of... Okay, we do have at least one Arbiter. We have 2 more coming, but I was worried that, like, Protoss accidentally maxed out without making an Arbiter, which is always unfortunate. Vulture's getting a bit sandwiched here. And like I said, like, you don't want to throw away too many Vultures. Like, we meme about how, like, Vultures are free and the mines cost 75 minerals or whatever, right? But you need some of them. And it costs a lot of factory time to make all of these Vultures, right? Like, the danger here is that Protoss moves out, clears out what mines are there, and then there's just no Vultures left to put them back. And now that I look at it, these tanks of McSmush are all sieged pretty close to some of these mines. This is a disaster in the making here. So 260 for you definitely has an opportunity to do a lot of sick mine drags if that's where the combat happens. Now this Arbiter moving out like this with this energy, I think this is fishing for a recall. Going to try to take a long route around the map here. And look, there's only a handful of turrets in the main of McSmush. There's no mines, there's no science vessel waiting to EMP, but there are a lot of buildings out here to give a forewarning. There is a recall coming, but at the same time, McSmush decides to move out. Their supply count is getting pretty high too. 2-1 is done with 3-2 on the way. Meanwhile, for Protoss, it's just the +1 attack. We also have the air weapons coming, so, and a second Stargate. So it looks like we are going to be... Oh, a third Stargate. It seems like we're going to be switching into carriers. Oh no, never mind. We're not getting recall because recall is just not being researched. So this army is not going to be able to pull up a recall. So you definitely want this to be back with the army to cast stasis on these on this huge clump of tanks. But as it is, this Terran army has pretty much crossed the map unopposed. You have a very large army here from Protoss. Needs that Arbiter support though. Okay, the Zealots are coming in, but they're being blocked quite well by these Vultures. Not too many mines here, but the Zealots are being chewed up. Still a lot of tanks, but we're going to get to this huge line here. And these goons are going to get melted, I think. Oh no, these 2 Arbs come into the last second. One of them gets EMP'd. We have that Arbiter that wanted to recall. Oh, but we did get off with 1 big stasis. And 260 for you just barely holds that off. I mean, look at this. Like, once the stasis is over, like, McSmush is going to kill these units that are left over for Protoss. Another EMP, nice. But you can see that there's already quite a few gateways in the main of 260 for you. Really, like, compacted all of the buildings in the bottom left of the base, and there's plenty of room left for more gateways, as well as more gateways up here in the top left. And, you know, I thought these Stargates were a sign that we're going to carriers, but no, we got 3 Stargate Arbiter here. Alright, so it looks like the wave of reinforcements from the gateways was enough to clean up that group of stasis units. So we saw... Okay. This is not even a base. Like, there's no mining happening here. There's just gateways for Protoss in the top right. So the Vultures find that Protoss has taken the natural at the top left as well. Actually do manage to catch a few probes. Oh god, there's no observer with all these goons. Oh my god. What a disaster. Oh my god. McSmush discovers the top right, but there's a wall of cannons preventing these Vultures from getting in. And despite all those mines, Too Sexy For You is maxed out again. Has several Arbiters ready to help in this fight. Trying to find an opening in the Terran defenses. We do have one Arbiter with 187 mana here. This could be possible to pull up a recall, but there's just a few scraps of Terran units like left alone. Pretty much undefended. And the whole Protoss army is definitely going to run over those. Ooh, one of the vessels even gets taken out by an Arbiter. Taking revenge for all of the EMPs and detection that's ever been done. McSmush is going to scramble to get some kind of defense over there. I'm kind of wondering, where is all of the supply for Terran? Like, there's like 100 supply worth of units. Now it seems like suddenly it's like all in these Vultures here. We get the Theseus on a handful of tanks here. The EMP gets one or two of these Arbiters, and one more falls. There go the Zelts. Clear the minefield, drag the mines onto a tank. See that Protoss is making use of all of those gateways around the map, making 20 units at once. Somehow Arbiters still find a way to fly into turrets and die. And it's a good thing we had 3 Stargates make Arbiters, because they're having a rough time in this fight. Terran does manage to hold off the assault for now. But like I said, there's plenty of gateways for Protoss to remake this army here. We're taking a base in the top right as well, not just a handful of gateways that we see here. You can hear that McSmush is scanning like crazy, trying to figure out the tech, trying to figure out if there are carriers, figure out how many bases there are. Now Terran's about to be at 3-3, but Protoss is only at +1 attack. So the armor upgrades, I think, are not super valuable in this matchup, but you still want the attack. Too Sexy For You is once again threatening this 4th base of Terran. Taking some heavy casualties on these mines, but overall there's not that much left here to defend this base. McSmush is having a much harder time rebuilding their army than their Protoss opponent. We have one tank stuck in a stasis. Just barely. McSmush does manage to save the space for now. Even a 5th command center here. So if Protoss can't get some lasting damage done, Terran might just grow to be too large, right? Like, we've seen some trades on the army, but no bases have been killed, no recalls have made it to the main to kill Thackerys. Oh no, these goons wander in. They're 1 pixel too far to the right, and they all stumble to their death at the hand of these tanks. Alright, but Protoss has certainly not really been damaged either. Both players trading a lot of armies in the middle, but after that drop and a handful of probes killed that we're trying to transfer on the map, I mean, it's mostly just been units killing units, no lasting economic damage. Oh, but Sexy for You has found this 5th base at the 6 o'clock. Some decent defenses here, but the mines betray the Terran. Help the Zealots clear out those tanks, and now there's nothing left to defend this base. McSmush is going to scramble here, but this is a lot of territory on the map for Terran to defend. Let's be very careful about how they allocate their tanks. Oh, and one more stasis. Just, peeling off a few tanks here, a few tanks there. It's going to end up delay Terran's ability to stop this. Looks like the 5th base has been cleared out with probably very, very brave probes clearing the map. Crossing the map, trying to get to his top right base. They managed to make it. And then when that base goes down, McSmush is upset. He's going to go try to take revenge and take a huge army here into the top right. The Protoss has plenty of gateways to macro from. You see on the map there's a stream of magenta. Oh god, no, these are probes though. Oh, they turn around at the last second quite smartly there. Alright, these vessels could be huge. Too Sexy B has been relying pretty heavily on these arbiters here. That's mine. Just picking apart Protoss here. Oh, an EMP on only one of the arbiters. And the next one is followed up. But there's still one more arbiter. Oh, and it dodges the EMP and gets off a stasis on the back 3 tanks. That's gotta be upsetting for Terran. Like, 4 EMPs were cast there, and there's still a stasis got off in the end. The wall of cannons was taken down, but the 2 bases here in the top right are going to be safe for now, it seems like. Well, no, right as I say that, I realize that the Protoss is down to just arbiters, and we have plenty of Terran units here, especially when its stasis finishes. A handful of gateways in the top right, as well as plenty more across the map. I'm going to try to get an idea of what the economy is like here. So we have one base that's almost mined out for Protoss. This one is at like 1/3 value. This one's half, and this one's basically fresh. It's like got like 10% gone. So Protoss is relatively close to being on 2 mining bases right now. Like this one and this one. That's going to be pretty rough. Definitely needs to break this fight. And look at this. And excellent flank here. All of these zealots saves the top right. It'll be super important for us to stay in this game. Now, what does Terran have in terms of the economy? We have about 1/3 of the minerals there. This 5th base is mostly fresh, but there's no command center right now. And we have Protoss heading down here once again. Ooh, a big stasis even gets one of these zealots, but to get 4 tanks, I think that's worth it. Protoss storms up the ramp, turn to the 6 o'clock base, discover that there's absolutely nothing here, and McSmush was just long distance mining. Oh, but the SCVs are still long distance mining. They're gonna walk into this army. Unfortunate. Oh, thank you for the follow, Zandu. Good to have you around. Alright, McSmush actually doesn't have a whole lot defending the front here. These mines are doing heavy damage to both sides. think these tanks would have all been killed by the mine drag if not for being in stasis. Alright, but what can Terran do to get out of this situation? Seems like T60 for you might just be camping the rally points here. But we did have more AMPs go off. Terran is scrambling to get some kind of defense up. There's some tanks here that I think probably should be pulled out, as well as some vultures, but it's a lot to handle right now. The bunker from 2 minutes into the game is wiped out. Yeah, oh, we have a wave of Goliaths coming out. Might not be what Terran really needs right now. Vultures have made it into the top right base. There are some units here to deal with it, but it's mostly Zealots, and these Vultures are right behind the mineral line. Oh my god, and 263 leaves? Retreats away from the natural. McSmush gets to stay in the game for a bit longer, but ultimately is still down in supplies, still down in workers, it's still heavily down in bases. I think, yeah, there's one mining base for Terran, and it's very close to being dead. Or just to being mined out. We have another command center trying to fly out here to this 5th base at the 6 o'clock again. But I don't think Protoss is going to forget about that anytime soon. Both players are regrouping after those fights. That might be what McSmush needs to get back in this game here. Just some time to rebuild and macro up. But now, right as I say that, 2 seconds for you, it just full sends down to the 6 o'clock. Vultures are desperately trying to block the ramp. We have a heroic science vessel EMPing 2 arbiters here. I think it was just too much. Oh my god, that mine was huge. Now this new base in the bottom. Oh, well, no. Okay, we have another wave of Terran reinforcements, but there's no tanks here. It's just Vultures and Goliaths, and those are going to lose the fight to gateway units. Here's the tanks here outside of the natural Terran, but now the fight has been brought to them. Wow, the tanks make such a huge difference. The real story is this command center not being able to mine. I mean, look, that's it. There's no more mineral income for Terran here at all. You see that number is stuck at 174. Well, Protoss about to mine out the top left. Ooh, definitely about to mine out the top left. So Protoss is also about to beat a 1 mining base, but Terran doesn't know that right now. Terran just knows that there's no mining going on. Man, I'm just now realizing like how terrible the mining would be at this center base. Like, look at how far away your building is going to be. It's going to take like 5 workers to mine gas. So we have a very large Protoss army smashing into the exhausted Terran. Just a handful of tanks. It's funny because like there's kind of no reason to attack this base, given that the mining is done. I think it's probably more important to save the space in the top right. That is where this army is going to head. We have some mines covering the tanks, but these mines again are kind of close. Oh wow, there was like 8 mines on one zone. D-Matrix, you're trying to keep them alive. But I think there's just too much Protoss. I think with no ability to rebuild, I think McSmush is going to be forced out of this game. It's 49 supply to 185. 15 gateway units in production. So, and yet, there's still a vulture killing probes. I think these are the last tanks Yes, they do get wiped out. McSmush taps out, and look at that, game 1 for this whole group. It goes to 34 minutes here on Good Night. See, stuff like that is why I'm casting this group over 2 days. Then we're going to head into game 2 here. It's going to be on Eclipse, every Terran's favorite map. I'm going to use these colors. In the top right, in the blue Protoss, victorious in the first game, fighting for Team GOSU. It's too sexy for you. Also on Clan Red. And in the bottom left, in the red Terran, on Clan MG. And fighting for the Korean mechanics, it's McSmush. Alright, so Eclipse. There's been a lot of shenanigans on this map, in this matchup lately, and Too Sexy For You is here for it. This is, like, especially early. Like, this is much earlier than you need to make a gas. Oh, okay, no. So I think this early, like, this is, like, too late to make a proxy gateway, especially given that we have Pylon here. I think this is to send a probe fast enough to stop a Terran who gets an early gas, just to avoid being gas stolen. That is going to happen here. Straight to it. No mind games about it. Straight to the gas. Even before the barracks has started. So Superman is pointing out that, like, this is like what you would send it. This is like when you would send a probe on butter, which is longer, and the Terran has the ability to clock. Alright, so how are both players going to handle this gas steal? We're not going to see like a 12 Nexus at a Protoss. Seems like it's going just into a normal looking build. And Terran, so far, not overreacting here. Not immediately dedicating like 5 workers to kill the assimilator. Not like trying to proxy a barracks on the map or anything like that. I think despite the gas, I think like the gas seal is basically just going to amount to a slightly later factory for Terran. It's not really gonna be a huge deal. Yeah, okay, look at this though. 8 gas has been stolen from the Terran, right? So like in the late game, if Terran is short 8 gas and they're like in another mined out scenario, I guess you could just wait a bit longer, because even mined out gas, you still get some gas out of it. Oh my god, the double gas skill, I didn't even think of this. Oh no. So obnoxious. Now, by the way, I've been told that, like, if you want to avoid this happening as Terran, you keep an SCV on top of the gas, because that starts building the refinery faster. So definitely something to think about. And also, like, this one isn't going to last nearly as long. Like, it might even be worth canceling it as the Protoss, because you can see it's at, like, a third of its total health by the time it finishes. Marine really helps clean it out. Look at this, we are taking a gasless expand here as Terran with a bunker. Now, something I've wondered about is doing gas steal into like 2-gate goon, or gas steal into like 28 Nexus or something. Just something where you get a lot of goons, because you can just put a lot of damage on this bunker, and Terran like cannot have tanks for a while, right? So this is something that I've been thinking about, and it seems like Too Sexy For You might be about to show us how it plays out. The range is on the way, as well as a Nexus. scouting SCV is killed as well, so Terrence Field in the dark. And this 8 gas is going to make it back to the Protoss. Just accelerate the build just that much farther. The factory is just now starting, and range is about to finish, so these goons are going to be able to put down a decent amount of damage here on the Terran. Somebody pointed out that the gas stealing probe got a kill too on one of the SCVs. I didn't even notice. What a ninja probe! Oh god, no! The goons hit the barracks. No, no, no! This goon has to go back to goon school. There, eventually does hit the bunker without being shot back. Ooh, and look, it's 2 factories coming out here. So they're going to try to be aggressive, try to punish Protoss for doing all of these shenanigans, but I believe the figure here is like each SCV that's repairing on this bunker costs Terran 100 minerals per minute in terms of like the repair cost and not mining. And that's not insignificant. There is a 3rd goon here. This is every Terran player's nightmare. This is what they hear in their nightmares, this sound. Oh my god, there are 3 factories. McSmush is definitely going to try to be aggressive. And try to punish Protoss for this. Does not want to deal with this nonsense. Meanwhile, at home from the Protoss, it looks pretty reasonable. You know, it looks pretty standard here. Kind of similar to last game, as people are pointing out in the chat. Like, Terran has no detection. So, if this was DTs, it would just be game over. So I don't know if McSmush like scouted something that confirms that it's not DTs, or just is willing to take that gamble. And look at this though, this bunker, there's 5 goons on it. And if these SCVs are not completely on point with their repairing, bunker could potentially go down, but a siege tank pops up just in time with the siege mode, drives these goons back, doesn't get any of them. Alright, so finally it's quiet in the Terran base. There's no goons shooting from outside. Meanwhile, Protoss is getting that 3rd base up at a very nice time. Citadel's coming. We're working on those arbiters. The observer is here just a bit later than you would ideally want it to be, but I think the damage we cause is worth it. And of course, like we said, there's no turrets, so the observer is just going to get in here. And it's going to see 5 factories. And let me tell you, I die to 5 factory pushes all the time. So this is definitely something that can still kill Protoss. But unfortunately for McSmush, 260 for you does scout it. And immediately throws down some more gateways. I think we're going to see some more here. Yeah, this probe has a lot of work cut out for them. Real nice thing against these like low factory, well, I don't know what we call these, like these quick 2-base factory pushes is DTs are pretty good. Like, is there, yeah, the Academy is just going out. Like, probably the scanners will finish as it moves out, so there's a limited amount of scans you can use to deal with the DTs. And we're even getting the Zealot legs upgrade, definitely helps. Tanks are trying to leapfrog out here to pressure these goons. Well, even more gateways coming out for Protoss. 2 goons go down for free. Which is macroing pretty heavily out of these factories, and here come the comm sets. Now, what can happen is like Terran spends like one to scan out here to see if the Protoss army is here, and then one in the main to see what the tech is, and then they see that it's DTs, and they're like, oh, now I have no scans to deal with DTs. Yeah, even there's 3 DTs coming. Oh, we heard the scans come out. McSmush actually checks the 3rd, and the main misses the Templar tech. Not a trivial omission there. Look at this. 260 for you setting up with this trap ready to jump on the Terran army when they move out. We got a follow from Dr. Rossi 46. I'm going to choose to say that. Good to have you on. Alright, Terran's very slowly braving the open ground here. Oh, hell, thank you for the follow, STL Homegrown Pro. That is the that sound is the what you get when you're playing the Protoss campaign and you get a hero. I've always liked that sound. Like, I thought it was the coolest thing when I was like 10 years old playing the campaign, and you get a hero and it blinks and it makes the cool sound. I think there's a different sound for each race. I just picked the Protoss one because Protoss is always objectively the best. It's okay, Homegrown Pro. I don't think anybody... Like, there's like 6 people in the world who are good at this game. Everyone else is pretty trash. But look at this arc, though. Look at this arc from Too Sexy For You. Like, set up over a huge area here. Absolutely ready to pounce on this Terran army. The army is still pretty big here. He just sits there in an arc, waiting for Terran to move out. The Arbor Tech has been delayed. And you know what? This is the thing that will happen to me in a game too. Like, I'll scout these factories and I'll think Terran is like about to move out, and then they just don't. Like, they just sit there and they keep making units, and like I like cut probes or something because I thought their push was about to come out, and then I think they're not going to move out, and I like restart my probes and stuff and like restart my tech, and then they move out. Yeah, Too Sexy For You gets it. Like, even as a caster, I thought, like, okay, McSmush is about to attack, but now finally, 5 minutes later, it's happening. Protoss has actually just ran out of patience going in here. The DTs are here. The scan over here on the left side, but actually doesn't catch the DTs. Oh my god, that one DT almost mind drag. It's like a great trade for Protoss, but with this backline of tanks surviving, the goons do have to back out. So, let's see. Overall, I mean, Terran is still, like, for 14 minutes of the game, Terran is not where they want to be. We only have 5 factories, just not getting a starport. Their command center is almost done. Protoss, meanwhile, getting that 4th base. The Arbor Tech is on the way. For some reason, the Stargate is in the natural. But, oh my god, look at this SimCity. Look at this. This is, like, urban planning. Like, this is like, maybe Too Sexy For You is like a civil engineer at their job or something. Like, you just look at any of my games, even on like a map with a decent main, let alone Eclipse, and look how disgustingly stupid my like maze of gateways is. I'm gonna ignore the game. Just look at it. It's like, oh my god, it's so good. Very nice SimCity there from Protoss. Back in this game, Terran does get the third. Like, Protoss, like, after that fight, completely retreated to their half of the map. We do have Templar coming out here. This is quite a few Templars, so, like, lots of potential damage, but also, like, the potential to just get picked up by vultures and do nothing, right? That's what happens to me when I go for Templar. Probe here is trying to go down to the bottom right to sneak one of these high ground bases. There are mines here to scout, but they will not actually stop the Nexus. Too Sexy For You does find the third. Sees that it basically just got online. So this does get online, and I think we're about to see like cannons kill all these mines. EMP is on the way for McSmush. And you know, there are still a decent amount of tanks here on the map. These vultures are being given free reign to mine up the map here. You guys in the chat are talking about a SimCity game and like the natural disasters. They need to add like a Protoss recall as one of the natural disasters that just screws up your city. Oh, here we go. These vultures do make it up the ramp. There's no cannons yet or anything. The Nexus does get canceled, but it's not really a huge loss for Protoss. Right, like it's not like there were a bunch of probes there. It's not like the Nexus got killed at after it was canceled or after it was finished or anything. Still plenty of bases for Press to take, but we are starting to get to the phase of the game where this map starts to favor Terran more than it favors Protoss. Oh my god, what did I say? What did I say? The Templar all died of vultures. Oh my god. Oh my god. Disgusting. Oh no, the vultures, the gangs have moved into the nice planned neighborhood of the Protoss, but the neighborhood watch clears them out. Oh, meanwhile, speaking of recalls, we do have one in the Terran main. Pretty decent here. Ooh, an EMP all over the goons right before the vessel dies. I think McSmush is going to clean this up. I'm not sure exactly what damage was dealt here. We have both of the armories down here in the bottom of the base. Science facility did go down, and a bunch of depots. Alright, well, the starport might go down. I mean, that's going to delay the science facility being rebuilt if the starport does go down. I mean, that's always annoying. It looks like +2 attack was already started. Overall, definitely a successful recall. But anyway, back to my Protoss bias. At a certain point in the game, this map, I think, becomes better for Terran. Like, there's not as many bases. Like we saw in the previous game, 260 For You took, like, the 3 corners of the map, right? And there's just not that many bases to take here. Like, especially if Terran is able to prevent the bottom right bases from going up. There's, like, maybe one more base that the Protoss can get, right? Oh, I hear turrets. That no, that was their recall. It's not. Hey, I said it was a pretty successful recall, alright. It just didn't kill, like, the armories or anything. But I guess killing the facility and the starboard is pretty much equivalent to killing some armories. These vultures are out here running around, trying to find some damage, but most of the range in the army. Another Templar goes down. We do have some mines being laid in the rebuilt terrain, but look at this. It's still only 5 factories. It's only 29 SCVs. Like, this is not, like, the monster late game Terran that all Protoss fear, right? Like, this is like a Terran who's limping along, who's barely making it into this phase of the game after taking a lot of damage earlier. So there's still plenty of time before Protoss gets absolutely choked out here. Ooh, but look at this. We have a 4th base for Terran sneaking up here in the bottom right. And, like, Protoss... Well, let's see. Protoss is still trying to get it. But this Preb's going to go to the other base. I love when somehow both of these bases are taken by different people. Like, it should not be possible, right? Like, even if you're not zoomed in, you can see both bases on the same screen. Being asked when I'm going to hot tub stream. I mean, I could be in a hot tub right now, right? I just don't have a webcam on. Like, maybe if I just played, like, a track of, like, splashing sounds, would you believe that I was in a hot tub right now? Hot tub gates. There you go. That's a good one. Oh, by the way, this another recall here. Another pretty decent recall here. No mana for the follow-up stasis on the ramp. McSmush very quickly brings back units here. This one's going to clean up a bit faster than the previous one. But one of the factories goes down, depots are going down, Comstat's going down, and at the same time, Protoss, this command center is dead as shit. Like, as soon as these units go to their ramp. Ooh, their main command center's down. And this recall is not going to get cleaned up quite as quickly as I thought. We have the Templar here with full energy shield, but there's no SCVs to kill. Throwing on a few vultures here. Oh my god, guys. Command center's right there. While Protoss is taking this base as well. And the Arbiter is going to get out. The Arbiter just leaves with 2 HP. Oh my god. Incredible. No! What? They all just left. They all, like, each goon assumed that the other goon checked the high ground and just left. Oh my god. If you didn't know about the command center 260 for you, why did you even put your whole army here? Okay, here we go. We saw some SCVs going up there. The goon's gonna chase. No, they were hotkeys somewhere else. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Alright, these tanks are very brave. Probably trying to make it up to the high ground, but they get cut off here. Just smashed by the entire Protoss army. Oh, a big stasis on these tanks. Well, something's going on. Oh, I thought it was a command center. It's a barracks. Can't mine minerals with that, unfortunately. Now, trying to fight these tanks is going to be a bit harder. Like, look at this tiny little choke point here. But the real story is that Terran is basically out of money. I mean, well, you know, there's 2 mining bases for now, right? But as soon as that one is seen, it's going to be 1 half mined out base left for Terran. Fight in this valley here. McSmush trying to save the space, but Protoss doesn't even realize it's here. Too sexy for you is maneuvering up on his high. Nope. Did we find it? There we go. We found it. And the first goon to get up there blocks the ramp for everybody else. Like I said, Terran is down to this 1 mining base at the 3rd. There's not even a command center in the main anymore. Now, what is left on the map? There's still some tanks. Not enough, clearly, right? Like, Protoss is 100 supply up here. But the march of the Zealots over here are going to walk right into this minefield with these vultures. Oh my god, these Zealots. Oh, there's another command center. Like, maybe a quarter of all of these Zealots make it to the base, but that is enough to clear it out. And all these tanks are headed up here. I think McSmush believes that this is like the main Protoss army, but we got more units hanging up here on the high ground. And 260 for you is going to bring the rest of the army to pounce on this base. It's going to keep trying to choke Terran out of this game. Wait, there's 3. Oh, there's a Zealot. He's hanging out. He's not destroying anything. He's just he's like the Protoss Jane Goodall, right? He's just like hanging out, studying the Terran ways, learning their way of life. Oh, here we go. In the bottom right Protoss base, there is a drop. Manages to shut down mining here, kills some probes, forces the rest to leave. And 260 for you, rather than go deal with that, just wants to charge in here. These tanks are in a great position on the high ground, especially with this conga line army from Protoss, but I think it's just too much. Yeah, there's no way Terran can fight this. Even the barracks is being destroyed. No more factories can be built for a while. This right here, these are the only minerals left. It's like, I don't know, what, like 2,000 minerals left? Speed cells can make up the rent. By the way, okay, look, I know that Protoss is about to win this game, but if I can just complain really quick, I hate that, like, I have to wall off my own bases, but that also makes it harder to defend a drop, right? Isn't that the worst? Should they buff Protoss? Finally, McSmush is going to tap out. And 260 for you is going to take the first series here for Team GOSU. Oh, I didn't update the series score the whole time here. Dang it. I'm the worst. Alright, and we're going to head into the second series. Going to be a TVT. Everyone's favorite here is going to be Theseus against Kaykoose. Excited to get this started. All right, here we go. In the bottom right, in the magenta Terran, as always, it's Theseus fighting for Team GOSU, and in the bottom left, in the olive Terran, it's Kaykoose. All right. So, what are we going to see here? Now, I've actually cast quite a bit of TVT in my long CPL casting career. And, like, I don't know, at least half of the time, it's been 2-factory tank against 1-factory expand, and the 2-factory tank loses just about every single time. This season, it seems like the, vulture spam has really come back in popularity. Like, it'll be a 1-factory expand, and then they each go up to 3 factories and just spam vultures at each other until somebody makes a mistake. It's going to be a while before we figure out what these players' plans are. Everything looking very standard so far. Getting these barracks out here to scout after 1 or 2 Marines are made. Yeah, look at these builds are very similar for both players. I'm trying to think, like I don't want to talk about it right now. Like, I don't even know TVT. I'm a Protoss, and like both players are doing exactly the same thing right now. We have Theseus not quite checking the middle, but going cross. I don't know. Is this like the worst case scenario if it's like cross map CC first? This is weird. I can't think of why you do this. So I'm trying to think, like, this map, how is this going to factor into this matchup? Like, there are a lot of high grounds and low grounds that is definitely going to factor into the like tank wars. If this game does go to the late game, right? Like, you know, whoever's here is going to have an advantage against whoever's here. And, like, the map is kind of open in the middle, but also kind of segmented. So that could matter. Like, this is open, but, like, good luck trying to get your army through there when there's a siege, you know, when there's, like, a siege line here, right? Still trying to figure out this weird scouting pattern from Theseus, and unfortunately, he is going to get screwed here, and he's going to have to go all the way back across the map to find Kaykoose in the bottom left. Oh, look, it's not the same build now. Okay, we have 2 factories for Theseus. Uh-oh, and I'm worried that I've cursed it, because I said that it's like 1 factory expand against 2 factories on 1 base. Ooh, Superman points out it could be that Theseus check cross first, and then if it's not cross spawn, then you can go 2 factory. Okay, okay. Starting to make some sense. And the SCV does get in here just in time to see the command center coming up. Ooh, and Theseus was building something and canceled it? Was it a command center was canceled? That's a pretty expensive cancel. Alright, we have 2 vultures here from Kaykoose, but this tank is going to make short work of that. There's no mines just yet. It is on the way. This barracks from Kaykoose is going to scout these 2 factories. Oh, a fast armory, too. I imagine more for Goliaths than it is for upgrades at this point in the game. Nope. Theseus can't quite decide if he wants to commit or not. And we do have the first tank here for Kaykoose. No siege mode or anything. I didn't see what upgrades were finished for Theseus from the machine shop. But like, look, like, Kaykoose has more units here, right? Like, yeah, the first tank gets absolutely bopped. I don't know, like, I keep seeing this pattern in TBT and I just don't get it. Like, I don't think 2-fac is like a good build in this matchup. It doesn't seem like it. And now Kaykoose is pushing these units back across the map. Seems like Kaykoose just has a much faster command center. Way more workers mining. Ooh, big mine drag. Gets that a Goliath. That's 2 tanks against 1 tank. We do have the boys are here, as well as some reinforcements from Theseus. I can figure out how to select all these units at once, but I think these tanks with the focus fire from Kaykoose are going to hold it off. Look at both these tanks are so low. The SCVs are trying their hardest to unrepair these tanks to death. Ooh, they get one of them. Theseus is not giving up. There is a natural command center coming, but otherwise the factories have just rallied over. You even have a starport here. You're going to try to get some Wraith to tip the balance in the favor of Theseus, but there's already an armory for Kaykoose, who's also already going up to 4 factories. Oh, the mine takes out some SCVs. Click the it doesn't make noise in a replay, unfortunately. As Zandu, I think it only works in when you're like watching a live game. Now siege mode is done for both players. But oh man, these mines from Kaykoose, oh my god, they make a huge difference. Like, I'm not sure what Theseus can do. I guess it is going to just come down to the starport. But I don't know. Kaykoose like has an armory, is getting an eBay, is getting their own starport. Like, I don't see much room for the starport to get a bunch of damage done. Like, in the time it takes 1 Wraith to kill a tank, I'm pretty sure you can like make a Goliath and have it come kill the Wraith. Alright, let's see if Theseus is not out of this game just yet. looking darker and darker as it goes on. Kaykoose has a nice siege on here. Both players floating buildings for vision. Now, looks like Kaykoose has had enough of this. Unsieges their tanks. It's moving out here. Pug mode. And the entire contain here from Theseus is wiped out. One tank is going to scramble to get back home. Oh, turret shooting down a barracks. That's unfortunate. We'll have to be remade here. Oh, mine's doing so much damage. Oh my god. I think this has had enough. We're going to head into game number 2 here of this TVT. This time I will remember to update the score. How does this happen to me? How do I get muted? I don't know what is doing to get my mic. I don't like what is doing. I don't know what is happening. I don't get it. How does it? Guys, I have. So I don't know what I could be possibly hitting by accident to mute this mic. Okay, I have my mic mute hotkey is a numpad 1. I don't hit anything else close to the numpad. How could it possibly end up being muted? Oh my god. Anyway, in this game, in the top right of Eclipse, in the banana yellow, it's Kaykoose. In the bottom left, in the magenta Terran, it's Theseus. Dude, how does this keep happening to me? Escape Part 2 is going to be on Thursday of this week. No, like, I used to have headphones that had a mute button on them, or like the cord would come out, but now I have a whole different deal. It's being muted in the Streamlabs. Like, I just don't. I don't know. I'm just being trolled. I'm haunted. It's like, sometimes I wonder if it's like remembering that the last time I was in that scene I was muted, but that's not even true in this case. Oh, okay, so we had Theseus checking, I guess, for proxy here. I thought it was either to check for a proxy or like to sneak around and do a proxy of their own, but both the SCVs see each other here. Once again, it looks like both players are doing very similar builds here. Now, I kind of hope that we don't see the 2-factory again from Theseus, because like I said, it just doesn't seem to work. Like, the defender's advantage is just too much for Terran. Take this time to fill up my water bottle. Scouting SUV for Theseus falls down. Meanwhile, Theseus is about to clean up the scouting SUV from Kaykoose. This time it's Theseus with the slightly faster expansion. You'd love to see it. But Kaykoose isn't too far behind here. Okay, we have Theseus going for a machine shot much faster. So I don't know if this is to get faster vulture upgrades or to go straight to the tanks. We have 2 vultures here trying to cross the map for Kaykoose, and Theseus just has 1 vulture and 2 marines, so I have no idea who wins this fight. With the second vulture popping for Theseus, it's going to prevent any catastrophic damage being dealt there. The barracks see each other across in the middle of the map. Alright, seems like we are going to see Vulturemen out of Theseus. Meanwhile, Kaykoose is going to get some tanks and some vultures. And the thing is, like, with these, at these low numbers, like, if the vultures from Theseus lay some sick mines, they can absolutely wipe out tanks, kind of like we saw in the first game in reverse here. But look, Kaykoose is taking a very defensive position here, blocking the natural choke with his eBay and bunkers. So Kaykoose might just be happy to give up any kind of map control here, just to weather this storm. So let's see what Theseus can do with that. Alright, oh, these vultures from Kaykoose moved out at the wrong time. They take a bunch of free shots here from this much bigger vultures squad with Theseus, but the wall here, these 2 tanks, Theseus does not want to try to break in there. Oh, look at the supply, as Askia points out. Theseus is 20 supply up. Are you scared me something, Panda? I thought there was echo on top of being muted earlier. Kaykoose is going up to 4 factories. Whereas, it seems like Theseus is going to stick on 3, but switch over to tanks. Oh, never mind. Hold on, we had vultures trying to run in here. Oh, that's not tight over there. I had no idea. Theseus needs to lay more mines here to deal with all these tanks. There might just lay some behind. Oh, but it looks like Kaykoose is going to hold on here, and every vulture falls, the tanks manage to survive. One more mine hit could have killed all of these units, but doesn't quite manage to connect. Alright, guys. Here's the puzzler for you. So, not even just in that scenario or in this matchup, but like in general, if you increase the damage on binds, would that be a buff or a nerf to Terran? Think about that one. Well, anyway, it looks like the supply count here has gotten pretty even. Kaykoose is even just a little bit ahead here. Theseus is a much smaller army now, but does have quite a few mines on the map. Seems like Kaykoose is not really gonna try to force the issue here. Oh yeah, even setting up to take this third base. Oh, even a fast third from Theseus as well. This one on location. And here we go. Theseus is trying to secure this like middle path on the map. This path is so important in this matchup because like if you get your tank line here, you threaten like this whole area, and that potentially cuts off terrain from all of these bases over here. It's funny though, like in this game, Kaykoose seems completely willing to just accept being behind on territory if it means having the bigger army. Alright, so we have these vultures here from Kaykoose threatening the third base of Theseus. They do kill the SCV. I think it might kill this replacement SCV as well. No, not quite. Ooh, they're trying to lay mines here on these defending tanks of Theseus. Oh my god. Big mine here right there. Kaykoose is going to land at that third command center. And Theseus is about to finish up his own third command center. Both players transferring workers here. We do see, oh, we're starting to see, we see two wraiths from Kaykoose. Couldn't figure out what I was going to say there. Starport is just starting for Theseus. So these wraiths from Kaykoose could be a way to deal with like these tanks that are set up in the middle of the map. Oh, look at this though. This is a big army. Like Theseus does not have that much, right? And it's kind of spread out. Okay, here is a decent amount of units. Alright, I believe Kaykoose was scanning the third here. Now there are a decent amount of tanks on both sides. Especially with these reinforcements from Theseus. Ooh, but these things are way out of position here. They do get picked off before they can siege, but the siege tanks on the high ground force Kaykoose to find a different path to attack here. The Wraith wants to find something to do. Oh, and now these two tanks in the middle have been kind of flanked here. Can't figure out where Kaykoose wants to go with this. Now the tanks from Kaykoose have managed to find a gap in the defense here, blowing up some stuff in the natural. Theseus, in the meantime, is not coming to defend. Is trying to bust up this high ground, but oh my god, these mines are perfectly placed from Kaykoose right on the high ground. Can take advantage of the vision and a missed chance to take out a bunch of tanks. Third base though, still going strong. I think the real deal though is this natural, like, it's going to kill a bunch of workers here. It's going to completely cut off any further reinforcements at the base of Theseus. One Wraith is slowly going to plink away here. Gets the tank. just too slow, right? Like, this race is not quite gonna tip the scale, especially these tanks get blown up as soon as they leave the factories. Theseus is trying to cut off reinforcements from Kaykoose, but after all those mines, it's just one tank. The defenders from the third base come down the ramp. Actually do manage to kill off several tanks. So Theseus might hold this. Theseus might be able to kill these tanks in the natural, but as you can see, it's oh my god! These mines! Oh my god, these mines have been in favor of Kaykoose the entire game. Ridiculous. I was about to say that, like, Theseus could get back in the game maybe, but be behind. But these mines have just been so good. And that is going to be the second series. Going to the Korean mechanics. We're just going to tie that. How? 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 It's when I update the score. Is that it? It's when I update the score. Let's test that. I want to figure this out. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm filling in the score with the numpad. It's taken me literally over a year to figure that out. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now the real question is, will I change my hockey or will I just take the scores out of my overlay? We're gonna find out on Thursday what I choose to do here. Thank you for noticing that pattern. Oh my god. I cannot believe it took me that long to figure it out. I mean, I didn't figure it out. You had to figure it out. Okay, we're gonna head into the last series that we're gonna see tonight, but don't fret. We are gonna finish out the rest of this group on Thursday. We're gonna head into Aggie against I'm gonna say Azhi Dahaki. I think they were in chat, so they might be able to correct me on that one. Azhi. Okay. Thank you. Anyway, I can't. The scores. Alright, here we go. In the top left of Goodnight, in the red Protoss, it's Azhi Dahaki. And the top left, in the banana yellow Zerg, it's iRk-AgGe. Now, a few seasons ago, I played against Aggie twice in two best of threes. And there were 5 maps total. In 3 of those games, Aggie built a hatchery in my main, and it worked every time, even when I knew it was coming. So I can guarantee. Oh, and like we've seen Aggie do that in more ZVP series since then. So I guarantee that we're gonna see him at least try to do that here. Like, maybe Azhi will, like, know how to stop it. But I guarantee you that Aggie is going to try it. It looks like Azhi is going to head in the right direction with this first scout. Definitely something that's useful against any Zerg, let alone someone as prone to shenanigans as Aggie. He's going to get this a forge expand, and I'm very interested in this wall. So like, what this is there's going to be a gateway here, and then there's only one tiny little gap where units can flow through. So you can block this with one zealot. Now that's pretty sick, but the problem, like there's two problems with that. One is that you will have to kill some building to get out later. Oh, uh-oh. Well, never mind, because you can't put a gateway here if there's a cannon here. Like, cannon make me go here, or like in the back. Okay, so there's three problems with that wall. One of them is the cannon placement is awkward. Two is you have to kill a building to get out. Three is that it's vulnerable to Hydra busts. But I don't know I'm not sure what's gonna happen now with this cannon in the way. Other than that, looks like a pretty standard opening here from both players. Looks like an overpool. Yeah, more expand. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sleepy today. That's part of why I'm cutting this cast in half. All right, so this. Okay. Now I don't want to sound like a nubline here, but the building placement is pretty important, right? Like, so now there's a gap here, and like there's a gap like here. So that's pretty awkward. And like this is gonna be like so vulnerable to Hydra busts, right? Something to be worried about. Now, AgGe certainly does not have to go for Hydra Bust. And actually, with this very far third, could be a sign that AgGe does not want to go for something early with Hydras, right? Like, you would still do it, but like if you really wanted to go Hydra Bust, you take like this third based for the faster rally. Now, taking this far third could be a sign that AgGe wants to go for that, the older, like 4-base turtle zerg style that was really popularized by Larva. Could be cool to see that. Or is it just like 4-hatch Hydra? Like, this is still a really early Hydra den. Like, you know, this is enough to like force some cannons. This could just be like, well, I want to play a macro game, but you made a weird wall, so I'm going to punish you for that. But Azhi Dahaki, having scouted that, is going to skip the Stargate, which always feels nice. You get a Citadel and more gateways to really pump out those zealots, try to fight Zerg on the ground directly. Oh, there's even two zealots that I literally didn't even notice were crossing the map, and they are going to get caught by the slow links and slow hydras here. Ooh, one of them gets caught, and the other one heads straight down to the third base, which was scouted by the probe. Nice diligence here on the part of Protoss. Just got that. Ooh, it's going to be 5-hatch Hydra. Kind of an interesting build that got the gas a lot earlier than 5-hatch Hydra does normally, but still ends up in the same place. Maybe just getting these Hydras out just a bit earlier to punish this wall. Poor Hydra. Just way too brave. This one zealot here. Dude does manage to get, I think that was a drone. The drone maybe one link by itself, I'm not sure. Also gonna threaten this creep colony. Maybe force some units to be made here. Super annoying in the bottom right. Actually, wow. Alright, note to self, one zealot. Kill the sun before I finish. Oh my god, AgGe doesn't even pull these drones, just leaves them there to their fate. It just keeps making more drones at the space. Oh my god. Well, the Templar Archives is done pretty early here for Azhi. This is the advantage of skipping Stargate. Oh, we got FA in the chat. Good to have you in. I mean, the lair coming in the natural for Zerg. Looks like that heroic zealot was cleaned up. Okay, I think the Hydras win this trade, especially with these three, right? Yeah. Well, zealots are pretty good. I was also doing way better than I expected them to. But even if they trade well, you don't want to throw away too many zealots. Like, you want to keep them alive so that your next push is that much bigger. That puts more pressure on Zerg, I think. Here we have these speed upgraded zealots, absolutely legging it down to the bottom right. But it seems like AgGe caught on to that, sending some reinforcements down there. Well, everything's looking quite good in the Protoss main. Everything developing nicely. Even a very quick robo here in case there are lurkers. Seems like the reinforcements have gotten here in time. We have a sunk here in this very well-placed position. The drone line, though, once again, left undefended. Drones falling down here. They retreat to the sunk. Which will manage to clean up these zealots. But not before one more drone goes down. If you look at the worker count, it's looking pretty good for Protoss. It's not what you want to happen when you take these far thirds. But oh my god, look at the Sim City though. Like, I think AgGe did want to do the like Charles style, but Azhi Dahaki's been sabotaging that. Oh no. Oh no, this pylon, when it goes down, it's gonna delay the +2. No. You gotta build the pylon ahead of time. Believe me, I've done this to myself all the time. Oh no, and Storm just started. Oh no, I think Azhi forgot Storm is. I mean, there's been Templar for a while, right? That has to wait a bit while Storm comes up. Meanwhile, taking a very quick third, which I think is fine because Zerg has been bullied for a while here. There's plenty of gateways at home. That pylon is back, and this gateway's unpowered. See, this is why that wall's rough. Takes this pylon, not this pylon, to power that gateway. God, going up to 5 sunks at the third base. Oh, 4 sunks at the natural. Yeah, okay. I don't know if Azhi Dahaki scouted that, but given that, it's definitely time to just sit back and take a quick third. Alright, well, now that Storm is done, Protoss is going to make this move out. Definitely dangerous here, but oh my god, look at this. This is giving me anxiety just looking at trying to attack into this, with even a Spore Colony at the front. Now, in fairness, there's not that many lurkers. Some good storms here could be enough to wipe them out, but if Zealots go in first, they're going to take huge damage from the spines. One lurker does go down. Like, we could maybe see some very careful, like, put the goons in an arc and inch them forward and kill the spore, and then inch them forward and kill these lurkers. maybe, but it's pretty rough to do, especially if Zerg tries to attack you during it. Nice Protoss. But chilling here in the middle of the map. We'd like to see maybe just like bouncing between these two bases, trying to force Zerg to make a mistake. Looks like Zerg, looks like a Protoss rather might be trying to take a fourth, but this probe is clicked to the wrong spot on the minimap. Oh my god, there's a lurker drop. I didn't even see that. It got a decent amount of probes too. Nice play here from AgGe. There we go. Now we're starting to see the shenanigans from AgGe. The slow lurker drop. Another attack repelled and Berserk third, but some Hydras lose their life for it. Templar somehow hanging out on the run. This scouting pro from the start of the game, by the way, hanging out in the bottom right, sees finally Zerg's fourth base going up, but Protoss is completely fine with that, right? Like, being even on bases as we're about to be is pretty good for Protoss. Ooh, get the Queen's Nest, gonna get that hive tech soon. Exactly. There we go, hive just started. Protoss army in the middle of the map is growing, but I don't like how many Zealots we're seeing. Like, this many lurkers and Sunks. Like, I think you like just want goons at that point. Like, maybe like 8 Zealots in the front, just tanking Link or something. But goons are going to be much more effective at pressuring these bases. Somehow a Ling is up here, letting all of these cannons finish. So both players being pretty passive here. I think Protoss is getting the better end of it. I mean, look at the supply. They're 100 food up. But anytime Zerg has a hive on the way, it's definitely dangerous. Things can go wrong pretty quickly for Protoss. But I think if Azhi Dahaki gets this gas and starts to go Reavers, it's going to be much easier to threaten all this stuff. Like, it's just so rough to take this kind of thing. I think you just need Reavers to do it at all efficiently. And Reavers have the added benefit of defending far-flung bases, which is pretty handy. Alright, and this Protoss army is headed down to the bottom right. There's a much healthier goon count. There's a ton of Templars, so we're about to see if my my preference for Reavers is going to be vindicated here or not. Now we have storms on some of these lurkers, but the Zealots, I think, going in a bit too early, get absolutely chewed up. Like coming. Oh my god, these are going to get picked up by the sport colonies. So obnoxious here. Protoss might break through here, but look at how cost efficient Zerg is being right now. Like, there's basically no reason to send in the Zealots until the lurkers are dead. Okay, we have one wounded lurker in the back, 2 fresh ones popped out. Several fresh ones. And while this is going on, we have a force headed over to these bases of Protoss. There's no Templar, there's no Reaver here. These 5 cannons are not going to be enough. One Sunk is bullying this whole Protoss army. It seems like some Protoss reinforcements are going to save the 4th base. This push is still going, but I think Zerg just has barely enough to survive this? Question mark? bunch of lings come out here. Ooh, nice storm on the drones. Gets a few of them. Lings, particular Archon, I think the adrenal glands upgrade must be finished. Boost Archon heads straight to the middle line. Takes out a bunch of links, but gets popped. Scouting probe finally goes down. 17 minutes in. We have a rebuild Protoss army here, but again, it's so zealot heavy. I mean, I guess now it's more cracklings, so you don't make too many goons, but I think you just need like Archon Reaver at this point. The way this Zerg is going to trade very effectively. Oh, okay. More Aggie is shining through. I didn't even realize there were Guardians here. Now, the thing is, Guardians, they're annoying, but I don't think they're actually that good. Like, this is one of the scenarios where they're pretty good because of the cliff here by your natural minerals, but, like, if there was a Stargate, you make one Corsair and he kills all these, like, a Templar can probably storm them as long as something tanks the shots. I just don't feel like good about Guardians. Oh my god. So many Sunkens trying to buy time for Zerg to reinforce. All these Templar are caught alone by themselves. Blink trying to clean them up. That being said, though, the Zealots do break through the wall of Sunks. One lurker here is actually envisioned. One single attack. There you go. Just go down. There you go, with his spawning wave of lings. Manages to hold on to that base for now. But look, the drone count is still super low. I heard some kind of transport sound. I think it was the Nidus? Yeah. Guardians, though. Oh, the Guardians actually do get caught out by these goons eventually. Putting a ton of damage onto the natural nexus, but not quite enough. The Krakens are so good. Not good enough right now. So it's actually +3 attack and nothing else for Protoss. Meanwhile, it's 1-1 with +2 melee attack coming before these lings. Actually, it's 2-1 for the lunkers. Alright, but with this huge wave of goons, it could be enough to break this base in the bottom right. The Nice is going to try to get through as many reinforcements as possible, but I'm not sure if it's enough. I mean, these goons, they don't trade the best against lings, but they stay alive during these fights. It could be enough to break this ramp. No, actually, you know what? No, I don't think so. I think with Lurker here, with more coming, with these about to flank, this could be a hard battle for Protoss. Let's see if there's anything going on elsewhere in the map, because these players have done it. No, we have super mannered Aggie tapping out of game 1 here. We're going to head into game 2 on Eclipse. I know it's silly because we're already on the last series that we're going to see today, but I desperately have to go to the bathroom. But I did mention to remember to put in the scores, not with a numpad. Alright, I'll be right back, guys. Thank you for waiting. Alright, I'm back. And as pointed out in chat, the Senders versus Mazer and Iskia versus Forte are going to be on Thursday. But right now is going to be game 2 of Aggie against Azhi Dahaki. Here we go. Alright, in the top right of Eclipse, and the red Protoss, victorious in the first game, it's Azhi Dahaki fighting for the Korean Mechanics. And in the bottom left, playing surprisingly honestly in game 1, in the pink Zerg, it's iRk-AgGe. Now, there was no proxy hatch in game 1, so Aggie made me look dumb, but... Well, I don't want to say that I hope we see it, because I don't want to wish that kind of evil on anyone, but I think it's more likely that we'll see it in game 2. I don't know. Let's find out. Look at very standard so a water bottle, so I can't move the camera. Alright, so it looks like it is going to be another Forge Expand from Azhi here. Oh no, you know what? I think it's less likely to be a proxy hatch, because usually what Aggie does is he gets the scouting drone in your base, and he like waits for you to forget about it, and then builds the hatch. But on a 2-player map, do you need to do that? Like, wouldn't you just use the overlord? I'm not sure. It's probably super annoying, but Aggie does get it down, the 12 hatch there. Maybe this drone is going to chase the Pro all the way back to the Protoss base. No? Okay. Alright. So this drone could become a hatchery in the Protoss base. Going Nexus before cannon. Haven't seen what the Zerg is doing. Yep, alright, here we go. Make my prediction correct. Let's go. Come on, Aggie, we know what you're doing. Yes, there we go. Alright, so maybe Z can show us how it's done to stop this, or maybe it's going to go straight to game 3. Because, like, okay, so, like, the thing about this is, like, you'll see the creep and you'll panic and bring a bunch of units to fight the hatchery, and then while your front is undefended, Aggie will send in units to kill your cannons at your natural, and then you're being attacked on 2 fronts. And I found out that, like, if you put a cannon here, he puts his sunk, like, here. I mean, it's different depending on what base. Ooh, hold on. Oh, we saw the hatchery. Alright. This cannon could be to, or this pylon could be to build cannons. Oh, I gotta ban this stupid bot. Hold on. This could be to build a cannon on the hatchery. I don't know what the right, like, I think you could pull some probes and fight it. Because, like, I looked this up, and, like, sometimes when a Protoss builds a gateway in your base, like, you can kill it with probes. And a hatchery has more health than a gateway, but it takes like double the time to build, so I think you can just kill it with probes before it finishes. Okay, get this thing out. Alright, so we have Lings trying to break in here as the hatchery finishes. They get past the cannon, but they don't kill anything in the natural. This cannon is on the hatchery. There's a creep colony trying to get up here. Link's trying to get in the main mineral line. Starting to feel like the Z did catch it in time here. Like, there's not enough lanes to kill that cannon. This creep colony is too far back. There is a cannon going up in the main mineral line, which Aggi's trying to take out, but cannot quite accomplish. So these games are cast from replays, so don't worry about like stream cheating or anything like that. The thing is that this player, Aggie, is like known for doing this. So Azhi just like took the few seconds to send a probe around to check. But it's not quite over yet. I mean, there are Lings here trying to kill this cannon. They actually do kill this cannon, but there's a replacement coming up. We have these Zealots trying to fight these Lings. By the way, so we're seeing a neat trick with this probe where it was attacking the forge. You can do that if you don't have hold position, because workers can't hold position. But of course, once you have a Zealot, if you like shift select the Zealot in the probe, then you can hit hold position. But I assume that probe is set up while there weren't any Zealots handy. And the hatchery does go down, and like Azhi makes this look easy. Now there are, you know, more cannons than you would have liked to be making in your own main base, but overall, the fact that the hatchery was finished and then killed is pretty good for Protoss. Like, look at this. Like, it's 2 hatcheries for Zerg. The gas is done mining, and there's still 460 gas in the bank. Like, it's just Lings. There's 2 cannons at the front. We got plenty of Zealots. Overwatch might take a few shots. All right, here we go. Oh, so some more Lings from the main somehow. I think they must come up from the eggs as the hatchery died. They do come down here and help crack this open. I mean, this is going much better for Aggie than I would have expected, but there's more Zealots than the Lings can handle. Cannons are being rebuilt. The gateway does go down, but oh my god, cannon gets canceled, I think. There's just a sunk in Protoss main. I love it. And like Protoss is completely fine. Just keep making cannons here. Just keep blocking. Just build more Zealots. Do we have more gateways? Yeah, we do have a gateway in the main. Nice. We can keep making Zealots. Smart move. And look, there's no development. I guess we do have the 3rd hatch coming up at 3rd base. Being way too brave. Well, I think this pylon might be built to replace this one if like Aggie sniped it, or like if Dahaki has to kill it to get out. We don't have a repeat of the first game, or the +1 was delayed by killing the pylon. See, Perez is heading into what looks like a normal game here with this tech. Just ignore the creep in your base. This is so funny. I love that there's just a sunk. Like, how long is Protoss gonna lead this here? Like, do you get a scout so you can kill it for free? You just build up a critical mass of Zealots? Like, it's funny because like if you do send enough Zealots to kill it quickly, like that will leave your wall undefended. Alright, so Aggie is trying to make it look like, trying to go into basically the same style that we saw in the first game with the 4 or 5 hatcheries with Hydras. And hiding these sunks behind these the Sim City, but as you can see, everything is pretty far behind where you want it to be as a Zerg. These Zealots are trying to hit in here, but I think there's too many defenders. On the other hand, if these Zealots make it to the 3rd base, there's nothing here to defend it. In the meantime, this Corsair is going to threaten this Overlord. It looks like an Overlord dies somewhere near the Protoss base because AgGe is supply block. Oh, Theseus can hold a ramp too. Oh yeah. Trying to get the Zealot. Like I think like this area is not walkable and keeps looking there. So the Zealot won't quite make it to where it has to go. No, don't go on. Come on. Come on. There you go. Come on, Zealots. Alright, we did it. We got it. There we go. Okay, we got the perfect 3 Zealot wall and 3 Zealots on the hatchery. Oh, and the sunk went down to something. Let's see, he kills one of these Zealots. I don't know. Alright, now it's 2 base, 3 hatch. Zerg, you don't even have the sunk in your opponent's main anymore. We're killing our own cannons? Oh my god, I guess the Z just has their Sim City like picked out. Like, there's gonna be a gateway there in 20 minutes. We're gonna kill that cannon. By 20 minutes, I mean right now. Right, Azhi says in the chat that they're an aesthetic person, that cannons did not fit the feng shui of their base. And this is a lot of Zealots. This is a lot of +1 Zealots. What is this, like 18? That's a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of slow Hydras here with no upgrades. Zerg might just get run over here. It's kind of funny, like 58 probes like, is so much for a 2-base Protoss. Like you ideally want to stop at like 42-ish. I think that's what we saw Azhi do in game 1. I would wager that like being thrown off by the hatchery just messed up their internal counting. Alright, here we go. The swarm of Zealots is headed in here. There's a lot of Hydras. There's 2 sunks, but it's still a lot of Zealots. But they decide not to take that fight. Meanwhile, there is a 3rd coming up for Protoss. Wants to make use of all these probes. One of these buildings is going to have to go down. Actually, 2 of these buildings have to go down. The cannon and the pylon. If any of his goons want to escape this base. Armies are staring each other down here. Oh, come on. Send all the goons and Templar. You win this fight easily. The thing is kind of traffic jammed in the base of Azhi. Oh, we do have Lurker Tech on the way. Is there a Robo? There's up here in the top left in the most aesthetic location. So clumsy. The Templar are here. There's so many Templar. Even the Overlords are getting hit by the storm. Finally, I think AgGe is going to pay the price for his transgressions. All of the proxy hatches. All of the poor Protoss players who got absolutely owned. You know, I feel like I have a cathartic victory here because I died to the proxy hatchery several times. So, you know, I feel like I took part in this. And Azhi does win this 2-0, clinching this series for the Korean Mechanics, bringing the group score to 1-2. Now, like I've been saying, tune in on Thursday. We're going to cast Senders and Mazer and Eskia versus Forte. And of course, tune in tomorrow and Wednesday for the official casts of the week. And then I think like Veer's going to do something like earlier in the day on Thursday. And we're going to try to pay that raid for. We're going to find somebody to raid. There is JN. Always a strong choice to host. Let's see. Let's see. There's anyone else I want to raid on here. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna raid JN. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Till JN, I said hi. And have a good night.